All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's 6:30. For those who are home this evening, if you have any questions or concerns, you are always welcome to email clerk@fulton.cnyric.org. Action 1.02, approve the agenda. If somebody move it.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, passes 4-0-1. In the event of an emergency this evening, we have a evacuation door behind myself, or you could exit out the library, go either left or right, and head outside the building and away from the building. Would you please join me for the pledge this evening? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is nobody signed up for public forum this evening, so we're going to move on to action 1.06, approve September 26th regular meeting minutes.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 4-0-1. Okay, for the President's report this evening, we have a health and safety meeting on October 17th at 3 p.m. Another board meeting on October 24th here in the library. We also have our NYSBA convention, which is at the end of the month. If anybody is still interested in that, has not already gotten to Mrs. Perry, please let them know. And we're going to go over our NYSBA resolution results. That will be from Mr. DeJalorme to do the virtual business meeting on October 16th. So Mrs. Perry printed us off a nice copy of all of our answers. I want to start out by asking my colleagues if anybody has any questions on any of the resolutions or any discussion. It looks like, and correct me if I had missed one, but it looks like we don't have a tie on any of our resolutions. We do have a few that had some missed, that were not voted on. So if you need to change and add a yes or a no at this point, let me know. Is there any resolutions anyone wants to go over?
Question for you, Brenda.
Sure.
Are we going over them together on the 16th, or is it just we're voting on them on the 16th?
Nick is going to take them to the business meeting on the 16th, so if there's anything we want to go over, tonight is the night, so that we can give Mr. DeJalorme all of our answers this evening.
Okay, I'm good. Just double checking. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Mr. DeJalorme, all set then?
No, not really.
You're our go-to guy.
Yes. So there's one vote per resolution.
One vote per resolution.
So we have some that are yes and no.
Right.
More no's than yeses.
Yep. So
and vice versa. So I just need to know which way are we going as a board on those that.
You're going to take the resolution that has the most votes, and I looked through really quick before. Earlier this afternoon as well, and I didn't see any resolutions where we had a tie where we needed to go through and decide if something needed to be different. Like for instance, resolution 33, we have 3 no's and 2 yeses, so you're going to take the no vote on that one.
Okay.
Like resolution 1, there are 5 yeses and 1 no, so you'll take the yes vote.
Okay.
And vice versa all the way through. Do you want to go through all of these together now, or do you?
No, I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any, if there wasn't going to be any discussion as to why we're doing the no's.
We totally
when we had
can
a couple
do
of yeses.
that if you want to. Do you want me to go through
No,
The no ones?
that's fine, as long as everybody agrees.
How about
that-
you guys?
I'm good with
Tim?
that, majority goes.
Okay, majority goes then.
All right,
All right, so I think we're good on that. And Mr. DeJong will keep us posted after the meeting on the 16th. All right, any questions on the president's report? Gonna pass it on over to you, Mr. Palvino.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to October. It's hard to believe we're already in our first October board meeting. Lots of exciting things going on. Time is really flying. There's a lot of things going on in our district and evolving. Always after a long weekend is always an interesting day back. I hope everybody in our community and our children and families had good long weekends. And now we're here to settle in. So we got a couple of things. It's an exciting month all around. So we have School Board Recognition Week is coming up. The 16th to the 20th. I just want to recognize our Board of Education members for all that you do for our students and for our families and for our community. I mean, education is at the root of really making change and growing our future here in this community. So everything that we do here, I thank you for your ongoing support. I thank you for the questions that you ask and the suggestions that you make. I was recently at the NISCUS conference, and once again, I tend to take in and listen, and I'm just so proud of our board and the questions that you ask as I listen to other districts, and I just listen to conversations and take it in. I think you work extremely well together, and the questions you ask are on point and challenging us the way we need to be challenged, and I appreciate that. And on behalf of our students, staff, and community, thank you for your service. I'm going to read in the School Board Recognition Week resolution that you'll also be voting on, I believe, this evening. That's one of the resolutions, correct, Ms. Perry?
No, it's just a read.
Just a read from me tonight. All right, well, it'll be in the record officially. Here we go. The New York State School Boards Association recognizes October 16th through 20th, 2023 as School Board Recognition Week. This is a time to promote awareness and understanding of the important work performed by local school boards. Public schools form the bedrock of our communities and our country. Democracy thrives with educated citizens capable of critical thinking and civil discourse. And it is our local school boards who are ultimately responsible for student success. It takes strong schools to build a strong community, and these men and women devote countless hours to making sure our schools are helping every child learn at a higher level. They make the tough decisions every month and spend many hours studying education issues and regulations in order to provide the kind of accountability our community stakeholders expect. The key work of school boards is to raise student achievement by developing a shared vision and goals for the district, ensuring strategies, resources, policies, and programs align with district goals, assessing and providing accountability for student achievement, supporting a healthy school district culture in which to work and learn, evaluating the superintendent to ensure continuous improvement, and much more. School board members give the City of Fulton citizens a voice in education decision-making. Even though we make a special effort to show our appreciation in October, their contribution is a year-round commitment. The members serving our district are as follows: Brenda Abelgore, Tim Connors, Tim Crandall, Nick DiGilorum, Fallon Hutchinson, Jennifer Mainville, and Jessica Pepler. And thank you once again for your service. It's a privilege to serve with you and for you. So, thank you. Okay. Any discussion, or all good? All right. Next thing on our agenda this evening is it's National Principals Month. In National Principals Month, our principals work extremely hard. Our administrative team works extremely hard on behalf of our students. I think they go above and beyond each and every day for our students to try to meet their needs, whether they are social, emotional, behavioral, and academic, and all of those, with the most important outcome being prepared for the world beyond the walls of the Fulton City School District. And we look forward to their continued work and supporting them and all of the work that our schools are doing each and every day for our students. And I'm going to have Harper Ellis, member of our school board as a student, read the proclamation or the resolution with respect to National Principals Month. Harper.
Whereas schools inspire the next generation of professionals, political leaders, artists, educators, and others who contribute to a healthy and prosperous society, and whereas principals are responsible for providing instructional, leadership, and professional management in our schools, And whereas principals set the academic tone for their schools and work collaboratively with teachers to develop and maintain high curriculum standards, set performance goals and objectives, and ensure high quality instruction. And whereas principals work to provide a positive support system to empower their students and give them the right tools they need to succeed. And whereas school principals are responsible for the safety of their students, staff, and the security of the school. And whereas principals lead the way in making school accountable to students, parents, the community, and other stakeholders. And whereas the month of October 2023 has been declared National Principals Month and is dedicated to recognizing the significant contributions of our nation's principals and the enthusiasm they have for providing quality educational experiences and guidance to their students. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Fulton City School Board recognizes October 2023 as National Principals Month and honors the contributions of principals in the elementary, middle, and high schools of the Fulton City School District by supporting the goals and ideals of the National Principals Month.
Thank you, Harper. And we wanted Harper to do the reading this evening because she represents all of our students in our district, pre-K through 12th grade. Harper, thank you so much for doing that. Thank you to our principals and all of our administrators for all that they do. Next up on our agenda this evening is the Individual Arts Assessment Pathway. Mrs. Geithner and Ms. Hoffman.
Good evening, and it is my pleasure to turn this presentation over to Abby Hoffman, our Director of STEAM, who's worked with the team of educators in our district to bring this additional opportunity to our students. It is an application process that we completed this summer and have been approved to offer this as yet another graduation pathway for Fulton City School District students, and Patty will give you lots of great detail about how that goes.
So good evening. It is my pleasure this evening to be able to bring information to you about the Individual Art Assessment Pathway. It's abbreviated the IAAP, so you'll hear that throughout, the Individual Arts Assessment Pathway. It's a graduation pathway, as Ms. Geithner said, that demonstrates skills through an art-based portfolio, and Fulton's application was accepted this past August in the areas of art, of visual art and visual media arts and music. So in 3 domains, our application was accepted. 4+1 pathways. 4+1 pathways is I have a slide. I think you all have the slide presentation in front of you. They are a 4+1 pathway. They require students to pass 4 regencies in core subject areas, but allow for a substitution in the 5th area for a demonstration of work and a concentration. The benefits of the IAAP extend beyond an additional graduation pathway option for students, though. This is an authentic, real-world art experience that is student interest-driven with embedded mentorship, feedback, and reflection. And I love this slide because it does talk about the demonstration of growth in students and a locally determined 3-unit sequence. Additionally, our students can create a portfolio that they can use in college and workforce applications to demonstrate their growth and their skills. It is our plan that the IAAP strengthen our fine arts program pre-K through 12 at the Fulton City School District through increasing participation and a focus on student interest. So how does it work? Students will follow a course progression demonstrating individual growth through a foundation course year, a working year, and a final portfolio year. With course teachers and mentorship supervision, students will add to their portfolio goals, artifacts, and reflections that clearly demonstrate their individual growth, and they must meet the High School 2 Accomplished Performance Indicators in the 11 New York State Learning Standards for the Arts. A teacher-directed independent study could serve as, in the working year, the portfolio year, if a student had an approved student project. Teachers will counsel students on their individual projects, artistic goals, and provide opportunities for self and peer feedback throughout the process. These are some possible sequences of courses that a student could take and complete to get the IAAP accreditation. Other course progressions can be taken as well, as long as they demonstrate the student's growth. So on this slide, there is an example, a very basic example of a student who would take Ceramics 1 in their foundation year. Then in their working year, they would take Ceramics 2. And in their final portfolio year, they would take Ceramics 3 or sculpture or something like that. However, students have the opportunity, if they were to go into photography or if they were going to go into a digital media, they would be able to, as long as in their course progression portfolio, they were able to demonstrate that it was achieving their goal, because part of this is setting a goal and moving towards it, and also demonstrating growth in their work. And one thing, as I was investigating this application process, that I need to add is that our teachers embedded in their courses already have a peer review process, and they also have goal setting, and they have a feedback form already incorporated into their programs. So it's not additional work that a student would have to do. It would more be an organization and a deliberate, intentional work.
Quick question.
Yes.
So even though the heading is arts, is music included in this all, or is that a separate category?
Great question. We have 3 domains that were, and I kind of stumbled over it at the beginning, the 3 domains that we were approved for are visual arts, visual media arts, and music. There is also 2 other domains that we did not apply for, and they are theater and dance. And the reason that we didn't apply for those at this time is because we wanted to make sure that we had coursework in place. So we don't have a course progression at this very moment that would demonstrate, that we could easily demonstrate that kind of growth for a student, even though we have very talented students in dance and theater. We're just not there yet. So we're going to start with these 3 where we know we have the foundation and we can always expand.
I guess a quick second question is,
Sure.
Do we have this up in the lens of learning for kids to look into this pathway yet, or will that be the next step?
Getting there. Next steps is exactly what thank you for the introduction there to that. But it's to get the word out to our families and our students, and through the work of the IAAP committee to continue that work and to showcase our students' work. And in fact, this presentation is the beginning of our communication plan. So last year we visited 8th and 9th grade classrooms informally, and we'll be formally visiting all of music in our classes this fall. I have on this next slide here, I believe, we have a picture of the flyer that will be going out to families this fall, along with possible course progressions. And we'll be using other communications and the support of City BOCES to put it on the lens of learning and get it out there to families and communities. So this is just the beginning. One of the things that it's very important for folks to understand is that getting students enrolled so that their coursework counts is important for the IAAP. It's not a retroactive program. So we need to get this word out, get students enrolled. There is no disadvantage from enrolling in this program. If you were to enroll and not complete it, there would be, there's no unenrollment. You just wouldn't complete it. If you were to not use it as a 4+1 pathway, it would be an amazing thing to have the portfolio and an IAAP that you did that portfolio with that accreditation on your diploma. So it's an excellent opportunity, a win-win, no-lose situation for students. But we do need to get the word out there and get students enrolled.
So it has started this year, or this is going to start?
We are enrolling students so that their coursework this fall will count.
What if a student who's a sophomore is hearing about this? Are they able to enroll in this and they would be able to catch up? But you said it's not retroactive, so their last year's work wouldn't count.
Correct. The coursework that they are in now would count. And then, so they need to, a minimum of 5 artifacts go into the portfolio, and they have to come from a progression of 3 courses. So a student who was even a junior right now, if they took a course this fall, spring, and in the fall of their senior year, potentially, you know, because when I was visiting our classes at GRB and looking at the amazing work that students had already created last year, I was like, oh, you know, some of these kids are sophomores.
Yeah.
You know, so it's exciting. It is really exciting because and students were really excited about, you know, what we're excited about.
Do you know about how many students we have enrolled right now?
Right now we're visiting the classes. We're just starting.
Okay.
So we have not actually enrolled it. We have been vetting a process of enrolling. Anyone can enroll in it as long as, you know, but we have a tracking and we need to set up there's a technology and aspect of this because the portfolio is a digital portfolio on Google Drive that the student will be able to.
So this quarter will count, or this quarter will not?
Yes, that is our plan.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's why we just got approved for the application in August, so we're trying to do a really quick turnaround with this. So I am actually really excited that I have the opportunity to come and speak to the board because this is another way to get the information out.
Absolutely.
I'd like to get students onboarded as soon as we can.
And Mrs. Geithner?
Yes,
2 questions for you just about pathways in general.
okay.
Was the service, we did a service pathway, was that last year?
The seal of civic readiness.
Yes.
Yeah,
So wasn't that able to retrograde?
that was, this unfortunately is not.
Okay, so I just wanted to check into that because I'm like, maybe I messed up on the first one.
No, we were able to count prior, specifically coursework and Regents exams that were taken previously for seal of civic readiness eligibility. That is not the case with this pathway. But as Ms. Hoffman said, we can enroll all students who are in any art or music class currently, probably with the exception of our seniors who wouldn't be able to demonstrate the 3-course progression. And there's no disadvantage to doing that, even if they don't end up pursuing or completing it. So if we enroll them now, then they will be eligible if they complete the 3-course progression and develop their portfolio.
And I'm not sure who's the best to answer this, but can you graduate having completed more than one pathway, or do you only submit like under one?
You can have multiple pathways.
Okay, so I could have one in art, the seal of civic readiness, all those different things, and they're all included on my diploma?
They are all included on your diploma. They don't exempt you from any additional Regents exams. It still is a 4+1, or 4+2, or 4+3, or 4+4. You can add all of the pathways, but you still have to take those currently. You have to take those Regents exams in addition.
Thank you very much.
And I have one question too. So on your possible individual art assessment pathway screen, you're showing for music that there could be the concert band and orchestra, chorus, AP music theory. Does any of our newly added general music classes fall into play for this pathway? Like, is now we have general music. Is that fall in?
As a foundation year course, I believe that it would. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's locally determined. And as long as we have, in music, one of the things that has to happen is we have to have record of an artifact. So if you participated, for example, in NYSSMA and you were able to videotape your recording of your performance and document your experience and, you know, that process that you went through, it's an easy one to do. When you're in a general music course, it can be a foundation year, but you have to demonstrate your individual artifact and how it is applicable to your goal.
Right.
So if you are in band, you're getting the foundation credit course, but you still have to do something in addition to create that artifact. Perhaps you do a ensemble, you do a duet with someone and you record that. It's something that you prepare in your lessons, so we have to look at, it does have to meet that high school too accomplished 11 New York State standards. And part of that is a process of reflection and peer review and, those kinds of things. So being creative, I guess, is what I'm saying about what we're taking from those courses is what we need to really look at.
So this artifact, can it be something in class or out of class? So say I was in ceramics and I built something in there, could that count as an artifact because I made it in class, or are we looking for things done outside of class to be the artifact?
No, it would be created in that class and mentored under the supervision of your instructor. There is a supervision component to this, and feedback and self-reflection and critique.
As Abby said, our teachers already have built in, where you go and observe an art class, for example, you will see at the completion of a project that there's a peer feedback process that occurs. So students look at each other's work, and there's a rubric, criteria, and some pre-journaling too on some occasions where students provide feedback. So that's part of the peer review process, already built into what we're doing in class currently. And then, of course, the teacher evaluation of the work as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, my parting thought about the IAB is just that this program provides structures for students to actively participate. They identify goals, they receive feedback, there's discussion, reflection, planning of next steps, collaboration towards a goal. It's another way that our students at GRB can gain real-world skills for their future, regardless of the path that they follow. So the embedded skills are just, they're exciting. So thank you for this opportunity. I have embedded in here, this last slide is a resource slide, and also backup was included in the resources for the board meeting this evening for you to explore some of the implementation. Yes?
I came in late, so I'm sorry, but this is very exciting. Maybe I missed it. So they have 3 semesters of work, and then they are to have a portfolio with 5 digital artifacts in order to graduate with the pathway.
Yes, I did embed the implementation guides in there for just such a question. There are, and on one of these slides it goes through the criteria for what each portfolio has to have when it's at the end. And in there is a goal statement by the student. They need to have 5 artifacts minimum through 3 different courses that, that demonstrate that accomplished level 2 high school, New York State, meet those 11 standards. And then the reflection, the peer review. So there's components that are embedded into this that also will be part of that portfolio to demonstrate growth. Yep. So it's not quite, but the wonderful thing is that our art teachers already have, our art and music teachers, they already have that embedded. They're like, we already have that form. We can just upload that with the student. Usually there's some sort of pre-planning for every project. So it's already there. It's just an organizational piece that would be represented in the portfolio.
Who determines if it qualifies as an artifact that's an official document or project that goes into the portfolio?
The student. This is student-led with supervision of a mentor. So if it meets those criteria, it goes in as an artifact. Who does the judging of the portfolio?
Correct.
That would be a group art teacher, group art music from the arts department.
So you have a set group of people already who will. So if I do a project, then I submit it to the group of
Well,
No,
I think the mentors kind of guide you and let you know if the project you're gonna do is acceptable, correct?
Yes, so the project, the actual portfolio is what would be submitted in the third year that would be reviewed by a committee.
And the actual artifacts themselves,
By the mentor, by the supervising teacher, the instructor.
so they're teacher of that semester. So if I'm in the
Yes.
band, if I'm in band and I'm doing like a duet with Miss Alpagua, and we we do a really great job, and if the teacher says, yes, good, put it in your portfolio, that's an artifact that will go in.
Every artifact, what we're working on is a system in which when you have an artifact, the student and the teacher would sit down with that artifact, and they would, as you uploaded that the copy, whatever that was, if it was a video of the performance or, a picture of what you created, at that point, you would fill out a form it's a Google form, and go through and name the artifact and the teacher and the date, and then you would say where it met the criteria.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because not every person or student in band or a general music class would be in that pathway or going for that pathway. So I was just wondering what the process would be if there was like an extra class that they would have to take to sit down, or if it requires extra work how much extra work by that teacher if I'm in the class with 20 other students that aren't on the pathway, what would be required extra of that teacher?
So what we've heard from our teachers primarily is all of the structures are already in place, so it wouldn't necessarily be an addition, but until we get to that portfolio review and assessment piece where the committee would come together. Also, the team of teachers has also worked to help support the application development and the implementation structures. So there has been extra time that they've spent in helping to create and frame this structure. And there will be more throughout this year that they will be doing to really hone in on the nuts and bolts, essentially.
So it's extra time that they are being given they're gonna have to review the portfolios, do you know what I mean? Like, that's extra.
Correct.
For them.
Not time necessarily during the day.
Not time.
Time potentially outside
of school.
Like our curriculum development days, for example, like that would be the type of day.
Got it.
Do you have a question, family?
I do. I didn't want to interrupt Mrs. Maybell. Okay. So I think this program is wonderful, and I'm gonna assume that this might interest students who may want to go into higher education for the arts program in college. And I know that our district does a wonderful job of offering college level courses in a variety of levels. Do you know, if, not to put you on the spot, but I can't remember, do you know if we offer any college level courses in the arts program? And if we do, would that also count as part of the pathway?
Yes. So on the pathway slide, I know I have a lot of information embedded in these slides, but on the possible sequence, you can see in there that we have the CCC 3 credit, we have AP Music Theory, we have all of those courses. And actually, when I was doing the research for this and trying to understand exactly where some of these would fit, they fit in some of them start quite early. You could take that in your sophomore year, the Essentials of Art, the 3 credit CCC in your pathway, and still go on to Ceramics 3. So if you study our course catalog closely, you'll see where you're like, oh, okay, that's a prerequisite. So I tried to make sure that the prerequisites were in line.
That's wonderful. I just forgot my glasses tonight. No, that's what an amazing thing to offer our students. This is fantastic. Thank you.
And I guess one last question, I keep finding more. Is it a 5 minimum? Like, could you have more than 5 artifacts?
You can have as many as you want. And in fact, when I said to the art teachers, I said, well, they have to have 5 minimum. Wow, I mean, for her portfolios that she has for students who are preparing portfolios in these courses, it's like, I don't know if she said 12 or 18 or something, but our expectations of students for their portfolios. And at that point, then she quickly turned and gave me 2 portfolios to peruse that were outstanding. They were really, I mean, you've seen the work. It's not showcased nearly enough, the work of our students, but those portfolios have many more artifacts that, and students are using them to go on to whatever's next.
That's one of the huge advantages, I think, of formalizing this structure is the creation of a portfolio. And 5 is the minimum, but we're already exceeding that in almost every art class. And this will help us formalize it for our musicians as well, because we'll be developing a repository for them to put those recordings and their performance videos in a place that they put together. It will hopefully help them as they transition out of GRB into whatever career or college program that they're going into, that they will have that ready portfolio, and it won't be something that they're pulling together in the fall of their senior year, because it will already be well underway and in a very structured, accessible, digital format.
And an opportunity for not just our students who are preparing a portfolio because they know that's what they want to do, will have this as part of our working toolbox to be able to allow students who might not have thought they had the ability to do this to do it.
Yeah, I just remember having 7 artifacts in one art class that to pass the class. So that's why I was thinking that there's a lot of room for growth to make your portfolio as professional as possible too for those colleges like you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Or even programs that don't seem traditional art, like engineering students, if they have a drawing portfolio, that's a highly coveted skill and talent. So
you said that the 2 pathways that you did not apply for were theater and dance.
Correct.
And that's something we may be looking for down the road.
Yes.
Would, if we do bring those in, would that count towards a credit for their music or arts?
we would have
Credit.
to actually have a course.
Right.
It couldn't
So-
be participation in the fall production.
Well, I'm assuming that for you to bring them in, you would have to put a course of some kind together
There would
for
have to be
these.
a course.
So this would count, so if someone didn't want to take ceramics, they could take a theater if you had a theater course. Okay. So it could be a dual, okay.
But I believe you have to follow the specific pathway. Like if I choose music, I'm not necessarily going to pick a theater, correct? Like it has to be 3 music consistently?
That's correct. You have to have the sequence and the portfolio in that specific area. It's not mix or match, like one from each category.
Thank you.
Okay, I actually have one thing to ask. So, real quick. Just coming from being a senior, I know that there are many of my classmates that would have loved to have done this program. Was this idea mentioned to juniors last year or sophomores? Because, like you said, it's a progress. We could have been building that as seniors. And I do know that our senior class has quite a lot of art kind of students. I know that this would be very exciting for some of us, specifically some of the schools that are offered have amazing art programs. So there's no way for seniors to have any way to do this.
And I hear what you're saying. Fulton is actually outside of 2 schools that piloted it last year. We are in the very first year of this.
Okay.
This is a brand new thing. There were 2 schools that piloted in this area in the state, and one of FM was one of them, and not sure the other one. But at any rate, they had pilot programs last year that, as the state was trying to try this out. And we immediately, this is the first year that we were able to, the applications were accepted, and so there's, and it's not retro, it's not retroactive, so there's nothing. But yes, we are at the very cutting edge of this.
Right. So you did mention though going to younger classes last year, bringing this idea around.
Yes.
It would have been just recently this fall, right?
No, in this, I wanted, one of the criteria for the application was to do a survey of students and to go and talk to students about this. And so I visited 8th grade classrooms because they would be the incoming 9th grade classrooms. And then I also went over to the high school and I spoke to the classes, some of the classes over there, but they were informal. I have a formal presentation that I'm going in and doing with students this fall. And so that will be a much bigger effort with multiple people going in to do that.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Harper. Keep going. I'm so
I
sorry.
was just wondering if, like, I understand that they were informal, but if that was the case, like, if we were trying to get this program, was there not a way to just encourage us last year as juniors to possibly pick up that class? Because you say it's 3, so we could have done one in the spring, we could have done one in the fall, and one in the spring here, we would have been able, as seniors, to be able to do this as well. I understand that it's informal, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to.
No,
It's just a genuine
I
question.
understand. No, and I hear what you're saying, and I get that. Unfortunately, we didn't even start to know that we were going to start the application process until the spring of last year. So it wasn't something. I think that our first meeting about it was in late March, to be honest with you, and I don't think we even started putting the committee together until almost the end of the school year.
It was unclear when, after the pilot, when the application would be available to us. And so we acted on it as soon as we received the email from Stata that we could move forward.
We did. I mean, it was very quick turnaround.
So let me ask you this then. Some of our musicians, they may be taking more than one of these courses right now. So would they be able to, so if they were in concert band and music theory and the jazz band, I thought I saw that on here. They could possibly, as seniors, get this pathway.
So you do have to.
It's got to be a perpetual year.
To the best, now, so this is a brand new program, and there are some things that have been asked in the forums. I've done 2 different virtual meetings with Albany, and we do rely heavily on some people who are very good at this at City BOCES in the arts department. So they ask questions and bring them back to Albany. So there is a learning curve. So this idea of a student who was between disciplines and could make a case for growth, could they do an independent study that kind of, blended? There's lots of, so that would be a question that would be posed and brought back. And one of these other questions is something that you're talking about that was brought back, that could a student take 3 courses at once and do this? And so far, the answer has been no. And I don't, so we're working, school districts are asking those kinds of questions.
So I guess, should we enroll some of these kids in case that answer comes back yes? Because you can't retro back to the fall, so then it might knock them out.
At this point, the answer has been no, but,
right. I mean, I guess I'm just thinking ahead, because you never know when all.
But no, enrolling students this fall, so their fall work that they're doing now
could count if.
Oh, that, yeah, if they are meeting the criteria for the artifact that they're selecting and uploading that, we're going to be able to enroll them this fall into this program. So their work will count this fall.
Right.
But I think, Brenda,
I was talking about the seniors, so.
Yeah, like could a senior fill this out even though right now we're saying it's not going to work? Because say in the spring, Brenda's saying, they say, okay, you could have done it. Well, what if the seniors never filled out the forms in the fall for their artifacts? Now we basically said you couldn't do it, but you can. Like, is there a way for them to fill it out just in case?
Correct.
I will go back and bring your question back to the people who I communicate with and have that posed again and clarified, and I will get back to the board on that so that we have clarity on that. To the best of my understanding as I stand here this moment, though, it's not a possibility.
The way that the sequence is posed is in years.
Yeah.
Year 1, year 2, year 3. So even semesters might be stretching the intent, which is why we're having this ongoing dialogue with them.
Yeah.
So.
So based off of what you just said, juniors might not be able to either, even if they did one now, one next semester, and one a third semester before they graduate,
It's a
that might,
clarification that we're still pursuing.
okay.
Yes.
So again, can they fill out the
There's no
stuff?
harm in enrolling,
Okay,
no harm in enrolling.
So, yeah, to Harper's point, if we have such an interest and it might be too late for seniors, are we targeting the juniors, like right now, to make sure that they 100% know? And then after that, it should definitely be the sophomores
We
that
actually
we're
need to start-
targeting, and,
And
We
the
have to start with
freshmen.
freshmen.
and, well, right, but if
So,
we have such an interest in, to Harper's point, like, such a big group of students, if it is locally determined, some of the stuff is locally determined and it's not cut in stone, maybe we should, protect the kids and just make sure that it's an option that they have.
I guess I agree with Jen on this in saying that why not focus on the older students who could possibly get it? Because even if you're a freshman and you miss out your freshman year, you still have sophomore, junior, senior. So it's not like they'll be excluded.
But we want to set the stage for them to prepare. This is a shift in mindset of thinking of the development of a portfolio that is not just a course-specific, meeting course criteria. This is development of a long-term body of work. So it's important to start with freshmen, but
Definitely.
also we should be making sure that we're taking care of our sophomores, and if it's possible for juniors to meet this criteria, to do that as well. But we don't want to miss out on making sure that our freshmen who are in art and music courses are enrolled right from the beginning and begin to develop these habits and contribute to their portfolios.
But I guess on a counterpoint to that, aren't these things already embedded in the course? So technically, it's not anything extra. So what would be the harm on focusing? If the mindset was already in place before this, and this is just a formalization, wouldn't they already have been taking these things away from their courses?
The documentation has to be there though. So they have to use the system of documentation and reflection that is approved within our application. So if they miss out and they don't do that in freshman year, they're not going to be able to go back and do that.
But wouldn't they still have sophomore, junior, senior?
They would, but they would have missed out potentially on getting that done by the end of their junior year.
So it's
Right.
not semesters of work, 3 semesters of work.
Years.
I wrote
It's-
down 3 semesters of work. I
It's
don't know why I
currently
did that.
phrased in the document as years, but the questions that Abby said, it is can semesters count, which is the inquiries that are being made by people in the field who applied. Can we do semester by semester? If a student doesn't take a course both semesters, then it's really not years, it's chunking by semesters, right? Like if I only took one in the fall of my sophomore year and then in the spring of my junior year, and in the fall of my senior year, I could still be eligible.
Right. So it's
So-
not, are they full year classes? Is ceramics a full year or a semester?
They're semesters.
So it is by semester. I'm so
Our
confused.
courses are by semester.
Yes, so
Right.
the clarification on that is that it is by unit. They're calling it a unit, and so it doesn't have to fall within that year.
Oh,
So
so I
it's
guess
not-
here's a problem. What
Right,
if we
so-
have a student right now that's a freshman that does ceramics 1, then ceramics 2? That's technically 1 year. So they wouldn't get credit for ceramics 2. If we're talking.
Yes, they would.
So it's not-
They
So then the juniors
Semester.
could do it.
Which is why we're asking for
Yes.
clarification.
Yeah.
Because of the way our courses are structured, they're semester progression,
Or semester.
but the document says year.
Right.
And we want to just be very clear that
It's-
our semester progressions still count regardless of the order of the year they take them.
Okay, so our freshmen then, if they did it all in 3 semesters, we would just spread it out over the years for their portfolio?
That's what we're asking for clarification about. We're going to document and we're going to enter it as a progression of growth based on those 3 courses.
So is
Semester
there still the
yeah.
possibility then
Semester.
sophomore
So
year?
you
for-
could,
Well, we hope so and we think so.
right, so that we should target.
Yeah, I mean.
So what I can say to you is that the folks who I am working with on this, and myself and the IAP committee members, are very excited about this. It is a lift, and we will do everything that we can do to onboard students and have a process in place for their artifacts to be cataloged and stored and demonstrate their growth and meet all of the high school 2 11 standards, which are not easy to meet. They're, they're not just a given. They're included in your reference, so you'll be able to see that. And we will do everything that we can possibly do to get this up and running. But I definitely want to see that this program has a solid launch, not to exclude any student who has, I mean, I've seen the work, I've been in the art rooms, I know they're fantastic, so I want to be able to bring on students as quickly as possible, but I also want this to be launched correctly and right, and have the built-in capacity for growth of the program, so that it has its good foundation. So I hear what you're saying. I'm excited that you're excited to get students involved in this, and I am too. And so I very much want students to be participating, and I'd like it open as soon as possible to as many students as we can.
And I don't think that anything is, we know that you're gonna do everything, and everybody's gonna do everything in their power to make sure we get what the students need. But for, like you said, like a proper launch and a strong foundation, let's get this off the ground, that's like a huge thing, a huge informational piece to give to parents and students so that they know how to plan for this. A semester versus a first year is very, very different. So how are you going to plan? What if I want to do multiple pathways? If I want to do an art pathway and something else?
Yeah.
So I understand the semantics of education, and I get that. But I think that is a really huge question that we need to figure out before we actually have the launch.
And I don't know if my board members would agree, but could we set for the second meeting in November a date that we could have these questions answered to give you the time to go and research and do these things? Because I think it's important to have them before this semester closes up, just so we can be proactive with our decisions, because I think, like Jen was saying with the launch, it's hard to launch when we don't have all the information. That's how a lot of it goes. We put something forward, hope it follows, but then the state comes out and tells us afterwards how it should have been.
And I think one of the things that we know for sure is if we start our 9th graders on and our 10th graders, they're in really good shape, right? So what we have to answer is, can we also achieve this with juniors? We know we can with 9th graders, and we know we can with 10th graders. So our launch has to include getting them enrolled and up and running in their coursework that they're already taking, by the way, right? They're already in our music classes, so capitalizing on that head start that they already have is really going to be important. But I think we can come back to you. What I would suggest is that we wait until we actually have the answers, because we can't control the timeline of when we've got them.
Right.
We can control how we ask them, but not necessarily when they will be answered.
I guess then can we just get information maybe each meeting just to say we haven't heard anything back, just to keep this on the table?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I do have a couple upcoming meetings that I will be able to have the opportunity to ask these questions. I do appreciate your interest, though, and your time this evening. It's been lovely.
Thank you
And
so
I want
much.
to thank you, Abby, for the work that you put into this, because like all new things, the application wasn't easy, and I appreciate the input that you got from stakeholders in our community and talking with our students to bring this opportunity to life. Absolutely.
Yeah, and thank you for making this possible. I know not every district's doing this, so I appreciate the work you put into this to make it possible.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And our operations update, Dr. Lisi and team.
Thank you, Mr. Polino. Over the summer, I talked about how we were already doing financial updates on a regular basis for the board, and I thought that we would also add an operations update just to kind of keep you in the loop of what's going on. And an opportune moment here is, and I'm thrilled to have, absolutely thrilled to introduce Corey Cartier, our new director of facilities, and Tim Wilson, our assistant director and project manager, excuse me. I'm just going to turn over to them and let them share their insight and vision.
So the first thing I'd like to point out is there's no bees in here, so thanks Don for clearing that up for us. Nobody's bothering Brian tonight, so that's a good thing. Our vision is to make a difference every day, and we're going to show a video on just what we're looking for in our people. Maybe.
We'll get there, I promise. There we go. Oops. I don't know why that's not showing. Hang on one second.
So some background, Jason, one of our maintenance guys, went out to his truck one day at 3 o'clock, quitting time or whatever, and hopefully the video will show that here in a second.
Can we come back to that at the end? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Do you want to go to the next slide?
Sure. Well.
Technology, not.
It's okay, you explained, they all look the same, didn't they?
Thanks, Tim. It's good to see
I'm
you.
showing you the if pros. Give me a minute. Let me
No worries.
send that.
So the next slide will show all the stuff that Tim and I have done over the years. But I just want to say that Tim and I are problem solvers. When people come to us, we'll find a way to fix a problem or do the right thing as a district to do that stuff. Do you want to say anything about your background?
Sure. So my background before coming to the Fulton City School District is I have like 15 years in project management at different levels and with different institutions and churches and things like that. After that, I went into live television production and different television production systems. So I was a television producer in LA and New York for about 10 years. And I've been here for about 3.5 years. And I've really enjoyed what I've been doing here, and I've enjoyed all the folks that I've worked with. But I will say that I've felt at different points that I could be more effective in a role where I could be more hands-on with people and with the problems that I've seen around the district since I've been here. And so in that way, I've been really excited the last week and a half to have an opportunity to finally really get my hands dirty and get working on some of the stuff that I've noticed and seen over the last few years of being here. So that's brought me to today, and I've had a really enjoyable couple of exciting emergencies here. So those are the things that really get me out of bed in the morning and get me excited.
There we go. Can you rewind it just a little?
I'm gonna do that for
Yeah, go right back to the start.
You can just try to hear. Freezing over
One of those days.
there.
It's been all day today. This is just,
Okay, so Jason comes out of the building to drop his lunch in his truck or whatever. And keep in mind, he's a maintenance guy. He picks up a stick on the lawn. To most people, that doesn't mean much. But to me, that shows somebody that is going out of their title to do the right thing. And that's what we're looking for in our people. We already have a lot of that, but the next folks will be more like that. Okay, you can go back to the important stuff.
I'm gonna try.
Did we ever hire anybody to run IT?
That just hurts, Tim.
We'll get back to you on that one.
That's right. Let's do it this way.
I wonder why he doesn't have that job anymore.
So there we go, there's all the good stuff that we've done. You can just go down to the transportation one. Okay, transportation. So I just want to talk for a minute about some of the great folks that we work with every day. Even with all the last minute changes this year, Greg, Chrissy, and Lynette in transportation had an excellent start to the year. We didn't lose any kids.
That's good.
That's a great thing for us. But they do a great job. Maintenance, Bob, Jason, Frank, Wes, and Jake all do a great job with all the PMs that Al had set up. PMs are just preventive maintenance. They knock out fires in our buildings every day, and literally sometimes I do meet fires. If you would have told me when I started how many toilet issues we deal with in a year, holy cow, it's amazing. And these guys, they're in it every day. And Tim's gonna be a good toilet man one of these days too.
Well, and off that, I was thinking the last couple of days, knowing this was coming up, you know, how to really show you what we got into last week and to show you a bunch of photos of non-leaking toilets, because that was a lot. But
Mrs. Hutchinson would have appreciated those non-leaking toilet photos, though.
It's no fun when they don't leak. Grounds, our grounds team, I can't say enough about. Cindy, Casey, Jason, Carter, Pat, and Josh. They keep our grounds looking good every day. From little things like signs blowing off the wall to you name it. They take care of a ton of stuff down at the complex. Custodial, Greg, Diana, Jim, Rob, Robert, Will, and Dennis. They're the driving force behind our custodial and cleaners that keep our buildings in tip-top shape. We clean for health all day, every day. It's a fact, and you'll see it. Walk around Balney or junior high, they're all in pretty good shape for what we have to work with. I don't know if anybody noticed, these are some of the things that we're working on right now, but the faucets in the science rooms at GRB, they're terrible. And they've been terrible for 10 or 15 years. That's one of the next things that we'll be working on. I don't know if anybody's ever talked to Dan, but he's a big proponent of good faucets.
I exploded a sink my 8th grade year in this building, so I kind of.
So last year, if you remember, we put all the new tabletops, new workstations in. This is the last part of that to make sure they have the right, correct, fixtures and things like that are usable and flexible for what we need to do.
No leaks, stuff like that. Important stuff. We will do a better job with lights on in the building, room AC units. They do get left on from time to time, but it's
From time to time.
One of our #1 priorities now. Over at Lanigan, by the basketball court, there's a bunch of, I don't know if you guys know what riprap stone is, but it's just bigger stone. It's at the end of a culvert. It's a hazard. The kids play on it all the time. We're gonna take that out, and hopefully there's a bell underneath there that we can just sod around or put down some topsoil and make it more usable and less risk for the kids.
Over to Lanigan?
Lanigan.
And Lanigan, by the basketball
I
court.
know
noticed
we're
that
talking.
when we were there.
Yeah, it's an eyesore. I think they could have done things a little better by running that pipe over to the drain that's 25 feet away, but we'll see what's in the budget, but first we're gonna get stoned up and see what we're dealing with.
Great.
Anything else?
No, I think you summed up where a lot of it is. The other grand thing with this, in my opinion, is, it's kind of like, it's great to have great first responders and emergency folks, but it's also better to have a good diet and not to need them. So, along the way, we're trying to get to the point where there's less emergencies, and even though we're great emergency problem solvers, to be less emergency problem solvers and more proactive with what we're doing. And so part of the mark of that will hopefully be less of seeing the issues around and more of things just running smoothly. So kind of seeing less emergency response is actually us accomplishing and moving forward.
Can I just add one thing? I just wanted to say, because these positions often are very thankless. They do so much work and they really run the entire district, if we're being honest with ourselves. Speaking of transportation, I just wanted to give a shout out. So my sons ride Don Buskey's bus, and he's amazing. My kids, especially my middle schooler, comes home at least like twice a week with a new fun story about his bus driver. And even at one point, he keeps coming home about funny stories or jokes or whatever with him and his bus driver in transportation, and he's like, yeah, he's basically like one of my best friends. So I mean, it's so sweet, and these jobs are really thankless, and they're tough. And
They work hard.
They work so hard, so I just wanted to say thank you so much, and, you know, they're doing the hard
Thank
work.
you, and I'll pass it on to the transportation guy. All set? Any other questions?
Even these staff are part of our champion program, right? This-
Correct.
All
All of them,
departments,
yeah.
okay.
Every person who works for us.
Absolutely. So bus drivers are included in that? I didn't know, because I know we contract through Golden Sun, I wasn't sure.
We have our own fleet as well.
I'll just add, like Tim talked about this a little bit, a lot of our conversations have been about not just being responsive, which they've been incredibly responsive. That's feedback that I've been getting about the team, but also be proactive and planning ahead for the future. Because we have so much going on. I think when you saw the building survey, you know, and kind of the condition the district's in, that's the first thing they looked at was, you know, we know we have all these issues we need to deal with. So how can we plan ahead and plan proactively to make sure that we're handling those? And so this team is, in my opinion, ideal to handle that. So I'm happy to have on board. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
So you do have a strong periodic maintenance program?
Yes, and that was started by Al Crump, the last director, so.
Okay.
And we're gonna continue with all that.
Good,
It's very good.
thank you.
All right,
Thank
see
you
in
so
6
much.
months.
6 months.
6 months, right? So I just want to, extend I start every Tuesday morning at 7:15, like I've always done with past directors of facility. But Corey actually texts me at 7 when he says he's going to be 5 minutes late, and he's still there before quarter after, as well as Tim. So the last couple of weeks have been very targeted. They're very clear about what they're looking for, and I look forward to your leadership, leading these amazing people in all of these different parts of our operations here in Fulton. So thank you to Tim and Corey for what I know you're about to do and go on, and I've already seen in the first couple of weeks. So thank you. And finally, I just want to provide, I did provide in your weekly an update with respect to the Dragon logos. In your weekly, there was an overview there. Just to highlight, we had over 75 submissions. October 18th, we're bringing the student culture team together, the district-wide team. And they will review those. We got a process. Nobody will know whose they are or anything like that. We got a whole system. They'll be able to rate them and this and that, have discussions. And we're going to talk about what is there that makes a professional logo. So that'll be a part of it. The city's going to do a presentation to the kids to help them when they really start thinking about things. And then we're hoping that we come up with about 3 to 5 designs. They'll work then with City BOCES, and then those will go out to our entire student body, 3rd through 12th grade, like we did the rest. And we'll get feedback with the idea. Hopefully that'll be happening the 6th to 9th of November. Hopefully a final design presented for your review the 14th, with the final design approved November 28th. So it sounds like it's a way away, but it's really not.
No.
It's actually a
Next
pretty quick
month?
turnaround. So I'm excited to hear them. So
Have you had a chance to see any of them yet?
if you walk into my office, you'll see them. When we were coming in, they were actually posted all over my office. I will say our kids did an amazing job. They had a lot of fun with this. And we have a range, I think, from 1st or 2nd grade all the way up to some seniors. So it's kind of fun to actually see an elementary perspective versus a high school perspective. So it's fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to feedback from the kids on the school culture team. I think that'll be a great day here. We're bringing them here to the junior high, and we're going to be using our small gym to be able to do that. So they'll have a designated space to really spend some time together and do that work. So exciting.
Mr. Paulino, one question, I apologize. I just wanted to make sure I have this correct. So our elementary schools used to have, like the Grumpy Gators. Now, they're all going to be Red Dragons across the board, correct? I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. From the moment we started this process, we want to make sure that we have consistency across the way.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
A community member, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure they're all Red Dragons,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to double.
That is correct.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. And it seemed like I had one other thing. There is a great video on Lens of Learning. I'll forward it. It's going to go onto our website. I can't remember if I forwarded it in our weekly or not. We just got it kind of late that afternoon. I would say we would put it up there, but I'm not sure it'll work the way things are going today. But it'll be on our website, and it's another very professional video for you actually to watch and learn about the Lens of Learning. So people are able to click it, and you can actually listen or watch it either way you want to, and actually learn about what this is, what this great new tool is. So I think it's really exciting. I remember Jerry sent it over on Thursday or Friday afternoon, and all I wrote back was wow in big letters. It was pretty cool. So I think it's a great overview of the Lens of Learning, and we had 100 what was that number? Of course, I got my computer closed. I believe it was 166 hits so far on our Lens of Learning as of this morning. It was just opened up on the 2nd. So to have 166 already was pretty impressive. So it was great. So somebody had asked me the number of people, so I wanted to get that. So Mr. Sherman, thank you to him, our Director of Technology, who was able to provide that information to me this morning. So
And it was
good to
viewed
see.
on Facebook over 500 times by Saturday afternoon, so it was first posted on Friday evening, and by Saturday afternoon, over 500 views.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's on our Facebook page where they read about it, right? Yeah, so it's definitely taking root. And I hope families see it and community members see it as really an insight as to what education looks like pre-K through 12th grade here in Fulton. So it's exciting times.
Are we able to like blast that out too, to parents, like a link or?
Yeah, we've got a family communication coming up this Friday or next week, right? Jerry, I know we started it. 23rd? 20th. So, yep, and it'll be on there. So we'll continue to do blasts at different times. And for the board, thank you for allowing me to go to NISCUS. I should close from my superintendent's report. I just attended last weekend. We actually went to the pre-conference first on DEI, which was pretty powerful. Jerry and I both walked away. We're like, wow. Apple chaired it, but we also heard from other individuals across the state. It was very good. Heavy focus on LGBTQ+, but it was really applicable to all. It was a fantastic day. And I will say, I normally have 1 or 2 sessions that I don't like over the 2 or 3 days. I can honestly say, and I shared with Mr. DiGiorno and Ms. Abelgore during our agenda setting the other day, I walked away with something from every single session. And I actually attended every single session, a time frame of every single session. And I will say, for Ms. Hutchinson's benefit, because she's been after me, we actually looked at podcasting, which was pretty powerful out of Grand Island. If you want to take a look at that, Grand Island has them on their website. Their superintendent does podcasts with kids and staff. It's pretty powerful stuff. It gets me away from doing the video type of thing, but what it does do is it gets us really interacting and talking about subjects, and we'll have guest DJs and things like that. So those are just one. So I thought you had it up there. So I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to do that and encouraging me, and this was one of those where I tried to stretch myself, and this was an area that we looked at. So which is this? Is this working? Do we have sound, or do I need to? Where is that?
Just.
Where is that? I can hear it from here, but I can't.
There we go.
By navigating this easy-to-use site.
Fulton City School District is always seeking to build the communication and dialogue between our classrooms and the broader Fulton community. That's why we're excited to offer a new tool to give a better glimpse into the learning going on in our classrooms, the Lens of Learning website. Lens of Learning is a unique online resource where visitors can explore the curriculum and standards of each grade level and subject area in a helpful and accessible way. Here, families can understand the skills and content their children experience every day and what to expect in the future. By navigating this easy-to-use site, visitors can select grade levels and subject areas to get a full view of standards and learning targets for each course. Students can use this tool to focus their own learning, while teachers and staff can clarify their own expectations and see how their work aligns with that of their peers. Parents and community members can use the site to understand the skills and curriculum offered by Fulton City Schools, seeing exactly how we build our students into future citizens and global participants. Also found on the site are our career clusters, which allow students to survey different career paths and understand how their own talents and interests can apply to the future workplace. Each career cluster page shows a helpful list of courses offered to high school students at GRB that can help a student navigate.
Thank you, Mr. Palvino. Okay, we're going to move on to our section of finance, action 4.01, to accept the financials. Can somebody move it?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-1.
Oh, do we have 7 people now?
We have 6. We have, okay, 5. Thank you, Tim.
Did somebody say?
Now, you know what? I'm just gonna
There's 6.
This is the longest Mondayest Tuesday ever.
6.
Okay. Pass 6-0-0. I don't know where the one person came from. Voice in my head. All right. 4.02, approve the train proposal.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. Action 4.03, approve the ARP project for capital construction bid awards.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. Action 4.04, dispose of surplus property.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. Action 4.05, accept the audit.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. 4.06, accept corrective action plan.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. New business, action 5.01, to approve committee on special education.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. Approved policy, action 6.01.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Which policy was this again?
This one is for the opioid
Opioid.
prevention policy.
Okay, thank you. Aye.
Okay. Opposed, abstaining, 6.0 or 6-0-0 passes. For our personnel, can we batch 7.01 to 7.11?
Move it. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, passes 6-0-0. I just gotta get through all of these. All right. Board forum this evening. Miss Alice, would you like to start?
I'd love to start.
Thank you.
Thank you to our two presenters tonight. I really enjoyed hearing from you. Thank you for answering my questions. Sorry for bringing up a topic or something like that. I just wanted to just get it out there for our upperclassmen. But it was great hearing about it. I'm very excited for our younger kids. I think this will be an amazing path for them. Thank you.
Yeah. Mrs. Hutchinson.
Thank you tonight for all the presentations. We are very excited, obviously, with all of the questions that we had. But no, Harper, thank you for raising those questions. Those are phenomenal questions. We want to make sure we're trying to serve all of our students. I did get a chance to check out the Lens of Learning over the last week or two, and it's just phenomenal. It is a rabbit hole, though. I start in one area, and then I go, well, I want to see what this teacher's doing, and I want to compare it to this teacher. So I'm so excited about that. So that's why I'm excited to try to push it out to our community members and make sure that they all know it as well. I did have the opportunity to attend some open houses, and they were really wonderful. I will say, though, you know, my big thing is, are we being transparent and are we communicating to parents? I did have a couple snags at the open house at the junior high, which was wonderful and well attended. I know a couple parents were like waiting to get served food and things like that, and they were saying they weren't going to serve it till a certain time, and it's fine. But if we can just communicate that to parents, we have a cafeteria that was, you know, pretty full, and I couldn't see why we couldn't just open it up and serve it. And then at Fairgrave, when I was there, open house was scheduled from 5 until 6:30, which is phenomenal. But when we had gotten there at 5, it was a festival outside first for the first 30 minutes, and then they were going to unlock the doors. But the problem with I'm hearing from parents was, well, they didn't know, and so one had to leave to go pick up their kids from, you know, sports, or one had to go, you know, pick up another kid from this or that. So if we can just make sure, if that's the case, and even for me, I had meetings on both days, and it was a time crunch for me. So if we can just make sure we're communicating that with parents, you know, having the festival and having these things from, 5 to 5:30 and doors open at 5:30, just to make sure that when a parent's taking an hour off of work, that they're able to get in, because we want that family involvement. But other than that, they were phenomenal. And that's all I have.
Mr. Crandall?
I just want to thank Tim and Corey and Hoffman for their presentations. Everything always looks good. Never see really any problem. I still think we need to do a better job in the wintertime with staking, because I notice we get a lot of sod torn up every year and just creates more work in the spring. And that's it.
Mrs. Mayville?
I too was going down the rabbit hole of the lens of learning. And thank you for all the hard work our teachers that they do, and it just completely coincides with what Abby had to present tonight. All the conversations and the communication that is going on now because of the lens of learning and the websites, and you can see the different things that all the teachers are doing in classes. I mean, that's just going to lead to the conversations of the different pathways, at home that parents and kids can start talking about, hopefully, in all of their spare time, not running kids around, but all the conversations that can come of that, and the pathways, like Abby, thank you for presenting that. It's not easy. State never makes it easy, but you did a wonderful job. It's so much information, so thank you for that. And thank you to Corey and Tim. It's great. Thank you for being proactive, and thanks for all the fires you put out every day. I can only imagine. Thank you.
Mr. DeJour?
I want to thank Harper for reading the principal's proclamation. Thank you very much. Mr. Polvino, thank you for recognizing the board. Abby, the program looks great. Really looking forward to it and looking at the progress as the students go on. And if I ever get a chance, I'd like to look at those portfolios and see how far they've come. Tim and Corey, appreciate you telling us what your qualifications are. And I'm glad you got a good periodical maintenance program, because I was military, and if you don't keep up with the PMs, the equipment doesn't work. So, thank you.
Mr. Connors?
It's always hard going toward the ends of these things, so.
I try to divvy it up each week.
But I would, like to reiterate all the presentations tonight were great. Thank you for answering our questions. I personally just want to do a special shout out for, Harper. She does such a great job speaking. I think, sometimes, it's hard to think you're not one of us sitting on the board as an adult, because you're so eloquent and you do a great job not only speaking, but speaking for the voice for the students and their concerns. So I just wanted to really say how impressed I am, and you do a great job representing our district and what we want out of our students.
Thank you very much.
And I think the last thing I just want to mention, and I'm not sure, what the best way to address this, because I know it can always be an issue every year, is some of the, traffic and people following, drop off, pick up at some of the schools, getting a little crazy, but people not following directions, making sure, and just, it's one of the things where, it's been brought up on a couple occasions to me, just, safety, people driving by, not waiting, dropping off people in wrong spaces, double parking behind other people, and, it's one of those things we can't wave a magic wand, but just being aware and maybe having someone out there guiding people, It seems when someone sees someone around, they tend to follow the rules and pay a little more attention. So that's just something I wanted us to be aware of, especially as winter's coming up, and making sure that we're providing a safe environment for our students.
Is there a specific school that was mentioned?
Lanigan's what I know from around me. Most of the people I interact with, go in that area. But I've heard things in the past about the junior high, different schools. So just making sure that, it's clear. I know we even have signs, but some people disregard signs and basic things. So just making sure there's a way to constantly have someone maybe available just to help even guide that, just to make sure we are keeping students safe and that people are, everyone's time is important. but making sure that we're doing things and that people aren't taking advantage or doing something that puts others in danger.
Thank you very much, Mr. Connors. It's important to keep our kids safe, and I know that I had the opportunity to drive by later at Volney. I've been interested to see how that pickup time is with that new turn and how the parking lots are now, and it did look a lot smoother than when I have driven by there in the past, so I do like to see that that's looking a little bit better. I think that I've heard some positive things here about the junior high now also, since we've got the new
It's made a
path
big
going
difference.
in,
It's a
so,
whole other, yep, but there's always room for improvement.
Always, always. It's always important to keep our little ones safe, so thank you. I want to do a huge shout out, thank you to all the principals this whole month for everything you do, not just this month, but all year long. We have some really amazing principals in our district that are there for their staff and do the good things for our students, and it's very important to recognize them this month. And to my colleagues, happy Board of Education Week. Thank you for doing what you do. It is great being part of a team with you guys. I too was able to hit the last open house at Fairgrave last week, and I have to say the rocket launch thing was really kind of cool. I might have spent a little too much time out there watching the kids have fun shooting those rockets off. So the energy that I saw that day was great on both family and through the staff. So it was a nice way to end the open house season last week with good weather. So that was good as well. I am so happy to hear about this arts assessment pathway. I know that I was first brought up to me this summer from Mr. Palvino. Anything we can do to help any of our students further and better themselves and prepare and get ready for their next step when they go out. I just love the whole portfolio thing and helping them be prepared for what that next step is, because you often talk about we'd want to prepare our kids for what that next step is. And I know in the past, you know, kids thought they were prepared, and then, you know, we would run into them, you know, maybe one of mine being one of these kids, they thought they were prepared until they actually stepped foot into their freshman year. So the fact that we keep adding more and more things to help our students be prepared, and then you guys know how I love the whole arts and music. I'm just very excited for this. I know that our teachers will do a great job, and thank you so much for all the work that you've put into it. I really, really appreciate it, and for taking all of our questions, and thank you for opening the dialogue up at the table tonight, Harper. That was great. With that said, I know I probably forgot something, but we're just going to move on. Second public forum. Would anybody like to discuss anything that was said tonight at tonight's topics? Okay. We are going to move on to executive session. So if somebody can move action 8.03.
Move it.
Second.
Second was
Tim.
Tim. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. For those of you who joined us this evening, I'd like to thank you. I hope you have a wonderful evening. You're more than welcome to wait for us to come back, but if you do decide to leave us this evening, have a great night, and thank you for joining us.
Fulton City School District is always seeking to build the communication and dialogue between our classrooms and the broader Fulton community. That's why we're excited to offer a new tool to give a better glimpse into the learning going on in our classrooms, the Lens of Learning website. Lens of Learning is a unique online resource where visitors can explore the curriculum and standards of each grade level and subject area in a helpful and accessible way. Here, families can understand the skills and content their children experience every day and what to expect in the future. By navigating this easy-to-use site, visitors can select grade levels and subject areas to get a full view of standards and learning targets for each course. Students can use this tool to focus their own learning, while teachers and staff can clarify their own expectations and see how their work aligns with that of their peers. parents and community members can use the site to understand the skills and curriculum offered by Fulton City Schools, seeing exactly how we build our students into future citizens and global participants. Also found on the site are our career clusters, which allow students to survey different career paths and understand how their own talents and interests can apply to the future workplace. Each career cluster page shows a helpful list of courses offered to high school students at GRB that can help a student navigate a clear path toward their chosen career. The Lens of Learning site is a living document and will be updated regularly as standards and curriculum change. It's continually a work in progress, but can always be used as a starting point for meaningful conversations about the learning that goes on in our classrooms. Be sure to take advantage of this amazing online resource, and thank you for supporting the great work that happens here at the Fulton City School District.
Okay, welcome back. We are going to move on to action 9.01, which is adjournment.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, passes 600. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.